Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Excited to have Gervonna Ragland joining us here again, our professional organizer from Duly Organized. That's dulyorganized.com. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. And
Uh,
yourself?
I'm doing well. I mean, except dealing with the carpal tunnel. That's why I'm using my voice text and not using my arm as much. But I got the TENS machine on it right now, so it's feeling a little better.
Oh,
But I'm
good.
excited to have you here. She's local to me. She's a New Jerseyite, and she's helping people, obviously, with organization, but even worldwide, she can help you. But first and foremost, let me just mention it's dulyorganized.com. And do you have a contact number?
Absolutely. It's 862-621-9231.
Great. And for today, you wanted to dispel somewhat five myths or five mistakes that people make when organizing? Tell us today's topic.
So today I just wanted to talk about 5 common mistakes I find people make when they're tackling home organization projects and what they can do to try to avoid them or at least minimize them.
I want to know. Yeah. What is the top one? Again, I'm a piler. Go ahead.
Well, I'm actually going to start at the bottom of the list with number 5.
Okay, good.
And one thing I find that a lot of us do is we underestimate how much time it will take for us to complete a project. And it brought to mind, I had a friend who was in FIT in design school. And when her professor would assign them projects, she would tell them, whatever time you think it's going to take, double it or even triple it.
Yeah.
And I find that that's a good rule of thumb because sometimes we may think, oh, it's a garage, it'll take me all Saturday afternoon. But I think you should bank on it taking the entire weekend. And a few reasons for that is that if you tackle it in the Saturday afternoon, great. But if you don't finish the project, it can leave you feeling overwhelmed or it can leave you feeling defeated because you now like, well, I scheduled the afternoon and I'm not done. What did I do wrong? And it's like, you really did nothing wrong. It's the amount of time it takes. So just allot yourself more time than you think it's going to take you.
Always, right?
Yeah. So I find that would help cut down on that disappointment and feeling of overwhelm. And then you still have time to tie up loose ends the next day if you have to.
All right. Not bad. Not bad. It's that time though. Where do we find that extra time from?
I know, but that'll tie into one of the one of my closer to number 1 mistakes.
Yeah. Go ahead. What else?
So the next one I have, number 4, not taking the time to declutter. Decluttering is a hard process. It can be very emotional. It can be, just difficult trying to decide what things go and what things stay. So a lot of people either skip this or they don't do as thorough of a job as they could. And a lot of times I've even had clients say to me, well, I have a lot of stuff. I just want to put it in bins and make it look neat. And there's a couple of problems with this. One problem is that they're in denial about how much stuff they have. And the other thing is that there's a misconception that just having bins and baskets and putting all your stuff in it is getting organized, when in fact it is really just making your clutter look pretty.
It's the one-stop shop. It's like it's a temporary solution. It's not real organization, let's be honest. And ask who has all these bins around their house and guilty. I'll get to it. I will not get to it. It's been there for 5 years. I mean, I'm so passionate about this because you got to see I got this room with all these bins in it, and it's just bin after bin, and it's all full of bins. Oh, there's a bed somewhere. I can't see it. But
yeah, but that is something that a lot of us are guilty of. So really take the time to declutter. It's not easy, but get emotional support if you have to, and just walk through those questions. How often, how long, when was the last time? And get that your belongings thinned out enough so that it's just not clutter in nice, pretty bins and baskets, because that's what a lot of us end up doing. So take that time to declutter.
All right. All right. Got to make that time. It's all about time. Go ahead. What else you got for us, Gervonna?
And the other is number 3. I myself was even guilty of this until I learned better. The one size fits all approach to organizing. And I see it with some of my clients, and they don't take the time. And even I, when I first started, didn't take the time to understand how I moved and I lived and I worked in my space.
Okay.
And so I would see something on Pinterest, or I would see something on TV, and I'm like, oh, I want that. And I want to put that in my space, only to find out that it made my problem worse.
Really?
Yes, because everybody is unique. So what works for one person in terms of organization may not work for you in terms of organization. You have individuals who are very meticulous, where if you put a system in, they will meticulously put everything back, check all the boxes. But then you have some people who are a little more haphazard. So a really intricate organizing system won't necessarily work for them. You may have to think of something a little more outside of the box, or something a little more flexible that's going to work with them until they're able to hone their habits to step up to being more meticulous, to being more thoughtful in how they move and live in their spaces. So we have to think about that. And also, sometimes what we see on TV or in magazines or on Pinterest, our space just cannot accommodate it. Like, you see this beautiful pantry that looks like a grocery store, and you have this tiny little pantry, and you're like, I want that. It's beautiful, but it may not work in your space. And you start buying products that you think are the products to make that work, but in your space, it really will fall flat. And so you really have to individualize your approach to home organization. Even if you see it on Pinterest, see if it can be adapted more effectively in your space.
All right. All right. But the things you see on TV, like the storage organizer with the sucking with the air, that's good, right? You told us about that.
Yes,
Vacuum
yes.
sucking thing. Okay.
That one I like.
All right. Good, good, good.
So another thing, my number 2 mistake that I find people make is just not planning ahead. And that falls into not having enough time. And I always go back to, was it Ben Franklin, I think, who said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Mm-hmm. And getting organized is like a journey. And you have to know where you're going in order to make sure that what you're doing comes out the way you want it to. Otherwise, you'll end up off course, overwhelmed, frustrated. So you want to take the time to really plan out your space. Think ahead about what the outcome is going to be. Do you want it to be functional? Do you want it to be more artsy or decorative? So those are things that you want to think about before you just jump in. A lot of people just kind of jump in, start pulling things out and pulling things apart. And halfway through, they have no idea why they started the project to begin with, or what they wanted it to be like in the end. Or they run to the store and they buy all this cool stuff, these bins and things like that, and they don't know what they need them for. They just, well, I need a bin. But you didn't declutter, you didn't plan, you didn't have an outcome. So you have these really cool things and these really cool shelves, nowhere to put them, and you have no idea what to put on them.
And all the dust. Keeping up with cleaning that. Yeah. By the way, I had a thing where I had to buy certain color. They're silver bins, but like the purple lid, and all of a sudden those went out of stock, flipped out. So then I got to the clear mode. I was like, I'm going to do everything clear. Now I want to replace this is how bad it got. Now I'm starting to replace bins. because now they look outdated. Bins full of my crap. Like, so the silver I wanted to clear, and now the clear bothers me that I see everything. And it's like, oh, I saw this new one with the white and the teal. And I'm like, why am I investing in bins now? That's when you have a problem, Gervonna. We need someone like you. Remind us how we can reach out to you, please.
Absolutely. I can be reached at 862-621-9231. And I could also be reached via email at contact@dulyorganized.com.
Perfect. Thank you. Oh my goodness. All right. So what else is on our list?
So the number one mistake I think a lot of people make when it comes to home organization, drum roll, is procrastination. When I talk to people, when I coach them, the number one question I ask them is what happens or what will happen if you do nothing about this problem? And typically the answer is it'll get worse. So the same is true with disorganization and with clutter. It will never, ever, ever resolve itself. We hope that it will, but it won't. But of course, it requires that we take action. And the more time we wait to take action on our clutter and our disorganization, the more overwhelming it becomes, the more anxiety it causes, and the more time and energy and money it is going to take to resolve the problem. Just like anything else, your car, is burning oil. You let that go for a while. Eventually, you're going to have a bigger repair than if you would have fixed it when it first started. And a lot of things that cause people to procrastinate is they feel they have to do everything all at once. And that's not true. You can break down whatever project you're working on into little smaller pieces and just tackle those one at a time. And as you do just one thing, one day at a time, you'll see that you'll start to reach your goals. So if it's overwhelming, don't procrastinate. Just find that one little thing that you can start with, and it'll help get the ball rolling.
Awesome. Oh, so much though. It lifts the weight off you. I mean, testimonials from your clients, right? How do they feel after you help get them duly organized, Gervonna?
Oh my goodness. So many have been just overwhelmed to the point of tears. To the point of tears of now seeing that their homes and their spaces finally make sense for them and they're finally able to function in their homes. People are happy. They are very happy once they take the step to enlist the help of an organizer to help them solve some of their storage and their living problems. Because, clutter and disorganization becomes a living problem, a quality of life problem.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you just disappeared.
Can you see me?
I can see you now.
Perfect. It said I muted you. I was trying to put the camera back on. Okay, good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Oh, sorry about that. Technical issues, but we're still rolling. Yeah, everything's good over here. Tell me some other examples of people that you work with and what do they love most about the feeling of being organized?
Like you just said before, it's like a weight being lifted off of your shoulders. So a lot of times I have some clients who it's not just disorganization or clutter, it's an emotional weight on them as well. And that's why their environment is that way. So when they start to put those pieces back together, it's like they start breathing again. It is an amazing thing to see and an amazing thing to watch as someone starts to put the pieces of their life and their living situation back together to the point where they feel like now they can function at a level they haven't been able to function before.
And is there a number one? Did we do that? No, that was
we did.
No,
we did.
Was that?
It was not to procrastinate.
Okay.
The number one thing is just get started.
Yeah. Okay. What do people say? Well, I don't have the time. That's my excuse. What do you say to people like me? Don't say make the time.
Make the time.
No, you say, I'm here to help you make the time. That's my job. And that's where Gervonna comes in. She is my time. There's no excuse.
Exactly what Jill
There's
said.
no excuse anymore. I don't have time. Yeah, we know you don't have time, Jill. That's why you hired Gervonna. That makes sense. Because a lot of people are very busy, and that's an excuse. But at the same time, go to a professional and get it done if you really don't have the time.
Yeah.
And it's worth investing in. My goodness, to give you that mindset, that freedom, that feel, which I told you, my sister's been helping me a few weeks ago with the kids, and I was able to start organizing and start my piles. Downstairs looks good, but upstairs is still a disaster. I try a little, and now she hasn't had my kids in 2 weeks, so now the piles are starting up again. And I still wasn't done with the project in my bedroom and the bathroom with all. And then we're going on vacation. So my aunt took my kids last night to the baseball game, so I had 3 hours alone. But what was I going to do at that time? I wasn't going to organize. I had an alpaca. Because I don't have time tonight, because we have sports tonight, tomorrow night, and then we leave Saturday. So it's like you have to take what you can get. But
yeah, take what you can get, and just one thing at a time. You said you had one project that you kind of got done, but not really, and then you start the next one and kind of not really. Just finish the one. Just carve out that time and finish the one, because then it, like you said, you have a pile here and you have a pile there and you have a pile there, and none of them are done, and then they start to multiply and grow. Just one thing at a time. When I organize with a client, if it's multiple rooms, we do not move to the next section of the project until the one room we're in is complete, meaning we've decluttered it and we put it back together. The client is satisfied, and then we move on.
Are there sometimes people have too much stuff though they don't want to part with? Then where do you put it? Do you go to the bin scenario for now to make them feel better? Like, how does it work? Because like my bedroom floor, if you came to see my bedroom floor one day, oh my gosh, you'd be like, it's the bills, it's the piles of magazines, it's the piles of, oh, the kids' schoolwork. Oh, it's I don't know, there's some snacks in the corner. Is it from the kids? Like, there's stuff everywhere. I stepped on a safety pin the other day that was open. I'm like, oh my God.
My
Oh,
God.
and a Hawaiian lei. I'm like, there's just crap everywhere. It's like, yeah. So what do?
So with that, we approach it where we don't want to traumatize you, because letting go of that stuff may be an issue for you. So yes, we will put it to the side and we will hold that for later decisions. And usually I give my client a time frame from the time we start to the time the session is over to make a decision regarding those things. And usually that helps, because they can move on, because you don't want to get stuck on that one thing. It's like they can move on. And as we wrap up, okay, where are we with this? Why do you want to keep it? When was the last time you used it? Is it something that maybe you could snap a picture of to hold on if it's a memory, or, and then we can let it go. So it's different things like that we try to do with the client to make letting go of that thing a little bit easier for them. You're hieroglyphic. You look like
energy.
hieroglyphic.
What is going on? Okay, hold on. I didn't touch anything. As you saw, it just started flickering. That did happen a few weeks ago, but hold on. Let me just double check. I'm not back. Sorry. All right, but my audio is fine. All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we got that. What else? What else are we supposed to talk about today? You tell me. I didn't get your notes.
You can ask me whatever you want.
Well, I'm someone who really struggles with this. I could really benefit from you and your services. And I think there's people out there, I think you got to come to terms and grips like myself that really, I need the help. I need the help. And I would love to have an unbiased opinion of what stuff on the floor to go, what doesn't, what, but are you ever put in a situation where the homeowner says, do what you want? Like, or is everyone attached? Because that would be amazing. If you can let them
had.
Oh, you have.
Yeah, I have had where, like, do what you want. And if you have questions, just put it to the side. And I've done that. And when they come through, they're like, oh, that can go. And they're fine with it. But I always give you the final decision, because you don't want to throw away something that is really like it may not mean anything to you because it's not your stuff, but you really want to be very careful not to just bulldoze through people's belongings. So if you're not sure if something is, viable or trash or whatever, just put it to the side. We let the homeowner make the final decision. Even if they tell us we can do whatever we want, we still give them that ability to make that decision.
Got it. Well, let me put it from this perspective, and maybe you know someone. I know someone of a someone, so I don't know them personally. But what about people that, look, I'm going to have a house fire? They lose everything.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, your heart breaks. They lose their memories, their childhood, their pictures, and then as time goes by, from what I've heard, they don't miss it anymore. Like, they're thankful for their life. They're upset for a while over that attachment, but it's a mind thing to let things go. It's possible. But look, then I try to make myself feel better. Like, you look at someone who goes through something like that, talk about loss, right? And if you can empathize and be like, wow, I'm lucky if I can now make the decision to move things, to put things where I want, I just feel better. Like, you can lose everything, right? So try to save the things that you want. Doesn't mean they're going to be there forever. You have a house fire, but I'm just trying to show you, like, mindset of people can, lose things. So it's okay to let go. I'm trying to talk myself into this, Gervonna.
You're doing a great job.
So yeah, but really, you just, really.
Yeah,
What do you have if your house burns down? I mean, hopefully you have your life and in your family, the things that were alive inside, but right?
yeah. And we have to come to the realization, with a lot of things, even without tragedy, that it's just stuff, right? It is
Can't
just
take it when
stuff.
we go, they say. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't take it when we go. And right now, what is it doing, or what is it adding to your life? Right now, is it benefiting you in any way, or is it causing you anxiety and overwhelm? And if it's causing you anxiety and overwhelm, and you're not benefited from it being there, what would be the best decision for you to make to help now quiet that overwhelm and quiet that anxiety that having all this stuff brings you?
Got it. Well, do you have any challenges, or are you perfect at organizing in your own home? Let me just ask. Does the expert have any problems organizing? Do you get piles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not perfect at all. I wish I were. But yes, even I have challenges. And one of my challenges, believe it or not, is my closet. The closet I use mainly is okay. But then going through changes, weight loss, weight gain, sickness, this and that. And so you accumulate clothing and you have things, and you're like, well, I might get to that size again. Or if I lost weight, well, what if I gain it again? And so I do have that challenge of deciding when is the time to let go and say, okay, you're never going to be your high school weight again. Let it go. So even I have that challenge, and I have to do the same things I do with my clients. Ask those questions. Is it benefiting you? Is it causing you anxiety? If it's causing you anxiety and overwhelm, what benefit is that to you? It's no benefit. So let it go. I walk through the same exercise, and even my husband helps me. Hun, what would you tell your client? And I say, you're right. And then I have to let things go. So all of us have our thing. Being perfect is not the goal. Just progress and being better.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, Gervonna Ragland. More advice on getting organized, duly organized. Tell us how we reach you.
You can reach me via telephone 862-621-9231. And I could also be reached via email at contact@dulyorganized.com.
Thank you again. Great show.
All right. Thank you.
So really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.